Third member of our crew is Sydney Warwick.
I'm Sydney Warwick, and I'm joined on the sidelines by Chris Hollick. So Chris, along with both teams, are representing the Headstrong Foundation gear. So Chris, can you talk to us a little bit about this foundation?
Yes, the Headstrong Foundation was started by Nick Collieri from the Ridley Township area in Pennsylvania. Nick was a freshman at Hofstra University, a lacrosse player, played with Ridley in that area as well. His freshman year, end of his freshman year, was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And when he was in the hospital at University of Penn, he overheard families speaking about sleeping in their cars, paying for hotels, and he thought he needed to do something to help families, as they fight their battle with cancer. Obviously the patient has a place to stay in the hospital, but the family and the caregivers didn't. So Nick actually, while battling his own cancer, started the Headstrong Foundation and actually drew the first logo, the logo that you see on a napkin in the hospital. He started that foundation, and unfortunately he ended up losing his battle to cancer, but I don't want to say he lost his battle because this great foundation has continued. And his mother and his brothers and the rest of his family made a promise to him that they were going to keep the foundation going, and not just keep it going, but to continue to expand it. It started their headquarters is in Holmes, and there was an apartment above. That was the first ever Nick's house. That's where I stayed. I was in 2017, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia, that's acute myeloid leukemia. That was a month and a half after my son was born. So I was away from my son for months at a time, and when I got my stem cell transplant, we needed to stay close to the hospital. So we started reaching out and researching places to stay, and we were forwarded to the Headstrong Foundation, and a lot of people recommended. And from the moment that I met Cheryl, Nick's mother, she hugged me and told me, you fight your battle with cancer, and we're going to take care of your family. And that was my number one concern. Not my cancer, not myself, was what was going to happen to my family. And it was because of Nick and the Collieri family that it was possible for me to be with my family close to UPenn down in Philly. That's what a lot of people don't understand is why is we're in Dallas, Pennsylvania, why are we doing a benefit game for a foundation in Philadelphia or near Philadelphia? It's not for those people, it's for the people from this community. I'm from Scranton. They have people staying from other states. They actually have a family from Colorado staying right now. They now have a house in Swarthmore that's the new Nick's house, and it's multiple families can stay there. But that's who it's for. So that's why there's a big lacrosse community in all the colleges across the country. I've spoken to a lot of them, calling them and thanking them for their generosity. And it's for the people out of state, 2 hours away like me, to be together and be family. And that's where lacrosse is such a team sport, and it's a family. You see these guys hugging and jumping around, and just really, it's a family atmosphere, and that's what Headstrong is about. Like I said, they do so much more than just lodging. Also, they do the hot Thanksgiving meals when you're stuck in the hospital. They send the magician around, anything to cheer you up. They really just they do anything they can to help because they've been there and they want to help. And again, Nick, on his dying, his last days, he didn't quit. He just kept fighting and kept trying to help other people. He never felt sorry for himself. Most people, even when I first got diagnosed, you feel sorry for yourself at first. And he inspired me. His story inspired me, and that's why I like to help others, and that's why I like to help the Headstrong Foundation spread awareness, because he didn't give up, and he kept, putting other people before him, even in his lowest times.
An incredible foundation. And Chris, where can people find more information about it?
Social media is a big platform for them. You can go to headstrong.org. You can actually see my story is on that website. Facebook, the Headstrong Foundation, Instagram. Actually, they just did a social media campaign, and they are now the largest social media following of any cancer organization. And again, that's from a huge portion or a huge part to the lacrosse community, doing the different social media awareness campaigns for them.
Truly amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Chris.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bob. And welcome back at the half of tonight's college lacrosse game here at Misericordia. I'm Sydney Wark, and I'm joined on the sidelines by Misericordia Director of Athletics, Chuck Edkins. So, Chuck, thank you so much for talking to me tonight.
Thanks for having us.
So you've been working at Misericordia for nearly 30 years now. So can you talk a little bit about your background and kind of all the positions and the journey you've had here?
Yeah, thanks. I arrived here in 1991 and was hired by our athletic director, Dr. Michael Mold. And when I came here, we had 6 varsity sports, and I was going to be the head coach of men's soccer, assistant women's coach of basketball, and the head baseball coach. So had a chance to be involved with almost half the sports and had the opportunity to arrive here then. And then the journey continued, stayed with the women's basketball program for a couple years, helped transition that to a full-time position for the new coach at the time, and stayed with baseball and soccer. And then when our director of athletics retired, Dr. Mold moved on, they asked if I would step into the associate AD role. So I kept the men's soccer position at that time, dropped the baseball, and ended up as the associate AD. And then back in 2015, when our director of athletics then moved on, Dave Martin, I ended up being appointed as the director of athletics then, and here we are. So it's been a great ride. Great ride.
And with that kind of background here, I won't ask for your favorites, but what are some top few memories and achievements you've had here?
Well, there's been many. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is the opportunity to work with young men when I was coaching and watch them to develop as people. To have them be part of Misericordia, become part of this mission, walk across the stage, earn that piece of paper, and go on to professional lives has been rewarding. Athletically, it's always fun to win championships, and I've been blessed to coach some very talented young men, and we were successful on the soccer field during my time here. Obviously, one of the first real special memories for our men's soccer program, we were the first men's team to end up in the national tournament back in 2000. So it's been a great ride. It really has. I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, that's incredible. I've looked at your list. It's pretty extensive of those accomplishments here. And just to bring students in, how do you help generate interest to the programs here?
Sure. So one of the things that we try to do is we want to let people know that this is a very inclusive athletic program. We want to be part of the university and not separate. In many areas, sometimes you'll find in higher education where the athletics piece is sort of removed and on their own in a silo. And it's very important to us that we help our young men and women grow and develop as people, students, and as athletes. And I think being surrounded by such wonderful coaches. We've got a great staff here of head coaches, graduate assistants, and our professional staff, but also the buy-in from the university. Student life, we are embedded in the student life there, so the opportunity to build relationships and really get a great following for varsity athletics here. You can see a great crowd tonight, and that's buy-in from a community feel that we try to establish here, and we think it works.
And I believe you on that. It is a pretty chilly and windy night out here, but there are still some dedicated fans cheering everyone on. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And coming up, we'll have some stats and highlights from the first half of tonight's game here at Misericordia on MyTV-WQMY. Heading into the fourth of tonight's college lacrosse game, the Sales is leading Misericordia by 6 points. I'm Sydney Wark, and I'm joined on the sidelines by Misericordia head football coach Mark Ross. Coach, thank you so much for talking to me tonight.
Thank you, Sydney.
So you've been on board with this team since the beginning in 2011. So can you talk about the growth since then?
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes I marvel at how far we've come as a university and as a football program. But, I saw this in phases. We're kind of in phase 2. Where we're actually, in my opinion, at a point where we can start to challenge now to compete yearly and try and win achieve our goal, winning a MAC championship.
Great, thank you so much. And so your past season, you ended with a winning record of 8-3, and you hosted a bowl game. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Very rewarding. Wasn't easy. A lot of adversity, and I was amazed. And kind of uplifted constantly by the resolve of our team. But I'm just really happy and proud for the kids that we were able to get to that point, especially the seniors. They came in here and at a time when we were trying to show them a commitment to their future, a goal, a vision, if you will. and they were able to achieve some things that kind of recharted the course of this program.
Great. And so your main focus for the off season, what is that?
Combination of things. We're actually at that point right now where we can get out and start doing some practices. So it's preparing the returners that we have here now for next season, trying to tie a bow on the recruiting class, and start on next year's recruiting class. So it's a bit of a balancing act in terms of recruiting, and just trying to utilize the time we have between now and the end of the semester to get the guys as prepared as we can for when we come in August.
And not looking to give away any secrets here, but you said you're in phase 2 now.
Yeah.
So what's phase 3 look like of the program?
Phase 3, when we get to phase 3, then we've reached a level where we can feel yearly we're competing to try and win the conference, and now you're talking about playing at a national level. Because if you win a MAC, you can automatically qualify for the NCAA postseason. So to me, phase 3 is getting to that point.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Coach. Back to you, Bob. Bob, I'm here with Coach Ricardo, and Coach, tough game against DeSales tonight. How can your team continue to improve moving forward from this?
Sure. I think right now we had a ton of great shots, just bad shot selection. Their goalie probably made 15, 16 saves without seeing the stat book. So the opportunities that we had on offense, we do have to capitalize, and that's basically shot selection. So a lot of them were stick side high instead of making the goalie move. So our young guys have to understand how to play in a rivalry game, and that's a pretty good team right there. DeSales is very solid. They're eerily similar to where we were last year as a little bit of a senior-heavy team, but our young guys have to learn how to play, how to finish. Moving forward, we have to have better shot selection. So it's a great question.
So what's the mindset going into next game?
Yeah, sure. So the next game is now we got to regroup, and we have to get ready for Eastern, another home game again on Saturday. We have to capitalize on our opportunities. So that's the big thing.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Back to you, Bob.